To tell us more about Annan's visit to Tehran and his initiative, I'm joined by writer and radio host from Chicago, Stephen Lendman. Welcome to the programme, sir. Mr. Lendman, first of all, tell us about Annan's initiative. How much of an impact could it have on efforts to end the unrest in Syria?
Oh, it'll have no effect whatsoever. In fact, it wasn't intended to have an effect. When I heard Annan was appointed the envoy to settle this crisis, I just blanched because I knew his record as UN Secretary General for a decade. He did nothing whatsoever to end Washington's imperial rampaging for an entire decade. He wasn't appointed to establish peace and stability. He was appointed to do exactly the opposite. His plan really isn't a peace plan at all. It sounds like a peace plan, but he puts the onus on Assad. Assad is a victim. He's not the perpetrator of the violence. And listen to his language all the time. He's pressuring Assad to stop the violence. Assad is responding to the violence, the insurgent violence, the violence that's armed, funded, trained by Washington, by Britain, by France, by Saudi Arabia, by Qatar, by Turkey being the home of a lot of the insurgents that literally just cross the border. And then when Syria confronts them, Syria gets blamed for defending itself. Same thing that happens in Palestine. Defend yourself, you're called a terrorist. Defend yourself against insurgents in Syria, and you're called an aggressor. In other words, everything is upside down or backwards or turned on its head. Nothing will be accomplished. I don't know what Annan hopes to accomplish in Tehran. Tehran doesn't support Washington's imperial project. Neither do I.
Indeed. Well, I mean, nonetheless, the initiative has been put forward. So let me put the question this way. Do you think the initiative will work if the US and its Western allies, as well as Turkey, Qatar and Saudi Arabia, continue to ignore the other party in the violence, that is, the armed gangs?
Well, number one, Washington is pulling the strings. This is a Washington initiative. It's had a long-standing plan for regime change. That's what it's all about. It's not about peace and stability. It's about regime change. Washington wants a client state, a pro-Western state, not an independent state. Any state that's independent is a state Washington targets for removal to replace its leaders with a leader subservient basically to Washington's interests. And I like to say if Washington had a motto, it would be, we're boss, and what we say goes, and if you salute and obey, then everything is fine. We'll get along well. But if you support your own sovereignty that may be against what we want, then we target you for regime change. That's what's going on. Annan is a willing imperial agent, the exact same role he played as UN Secretary General. Ban Ki-moon is doing exactly the same thing, and the fingers always get pointed the wrong way. Washington does not want peace and stability. That would subvert its initiative, its plan. It needs violence. It needs instability, and the Annan plan certainly will do nothing to promote peace and not give Washington what it wants. It's a very disturbing situation.
All right, Stephen Lendman, writer and radio host from Washington. As always, thanks for your time there, sir.